We have officially reached the point where I have left the country to watch an AEW wrestling event. I don't know how we got here. It's probably because of you, so thank you for that. Yes, after only watching AEW for a single year, we have already crossed the border to go to AEW's All Out in Toronto. Now, fortunately, Toronto is only about 4 hours away from us, roughly, on a good day. And we are kind of used to these drives at this point. We've been doing a lot of traveling to go to wrestling shows in general in the last couple of years. So this is nothing new to us. This is the first time we have left the country to do so. We were crossing over to Canada, and I have not done that in a very long time. So we're about to cross into Canada. I have not crossed the border since I was 16. My only knowledge of how this goes is what I've seen on TikTok. So I'm a little nervous. I don't know what I'm going to get asked. I'm just praying I don't fold under pressure. But I mean, we're just trying to go to a wrestling show. That's fine, right? I don't know. We've been waiting in this line for a really long time. The cars are barely moving, and I'm a little worried that means they're being like strict up there or something. Like, I don't know what happens. I'm nervous. Hi.
Bonjour. Can I have the IDs and people down the back seat window for me?
The back seat window? Yeah.
How many on board?
Just the two of us.
Where do you both live?
I'm sorry. I was going to say Michigan.
And where are you going to?
Toronto for a wrestling show.
What wrestling show?
AEW's All Out.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Their second biggest show of the year.
You were just in London yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, the September to Remember.
Have a good day.
Thank you very much.
The panic.
Dude.
Panic. I looked at you, I
get
looked
it.
at him, I looked at you, I looked at him. I'm like, tell him!
I completely folded. He asked me where I lived, and I was I almost literally said a city we used to live in. I don't know what happened. I have no idea. I don't know if it's just the pressure of the situation. The dude was just like, I don't know. The dude had me. The dude, I folded. I folded, and I almost f***ed it. But thankfully, I answered perfectly on all the follow-up questions. So. But it's okay. After folding under absolutely zero pressure by border control, I did make it into Canada, and I got to see a pretty damn good looking country. Now, we got to Canada a day early so that we could see at least a little bit of Canada and kind of relax a little bit before the show. And shout out, thank you so much to Conman and Alex for actually helping us kind of get acclimated for the first night and actually get to see a little bit of the city. And this is the first time we've actually been in a city this big. We've been to cities that we thought were big. We know Detroit's not very big. We've been to like Tampa. We've been like to Arlington, but nothing that was like a big city where it's just tons of like tall buildings and skyscrapers galore. One thing that nothing could have prepared us for was how bad and how crazy the traffic is in a city as big as Toronto. Even living in a place like Michigan where there is virtually no public transit, so you kind of have to use a car and drive everywhere, this was the worst traffic I've ever experienced. Like, just to literally drive maybe only like 10 or 20 miles or kilometers, it was taking like 40 minutes to an hour just because it was just stop and go traffic so consistently throughout the day. I'm going to look into trains, and I'm going to see if I saw a train flying by us consistently while we were waiting in traffic. So I don't know, maybe there's a better way to do things over there. But we did make our way to Scotiabank Arena. This is, I believe, where the Toronto Maple Leafs play. So that's kind of cool. Growing up a hockey fan, I guess I could knock it off my list of arenas I've wanted to go to. Before we head to the seats, as always, we have to go check out the merch stand, and we did end up picking up some merch. I did get this hat. Callie ended up getting an all-out shirt that looked like a Blue Jays jersey, and then she also got a blue version of the Hangman Adam Page shirt that she bought. She bought like a pink or a salmon version of it not that long ago. They had a blue version now. She had to scoop that up. So pretty good looking merch. My favorite color is blue, so I'm a little biased, but this had some really good merch. Now, I knew this was going to be at Scotiabank Arena. I didn't really piece together how much smaller of a venue this was going to be compared to All In. Obviously, that sounds obvious when you just think about it, but I didn't think about it ahead of time. And it was actually kind of strange to be going to one of these bigger shows and feeling like I'm in a much smaller concourse. There wasn't really room for there to be extra stuff to do. So no, there wasn't like at All In, there was other extra stuff that you could wait in line for and do. Honestly, most of it was for free, like getting the card. They'd take a photo of you and make like a trading card out of it, like a wrestling card. There was nothing like that at All Out. There wasn't any sort of any meet and greet things going on beforehand that I could find anyway.
There was no like StarCast situation. I know that WWE, for most of their pay-per-views, it seems like they do something kind of like that. Maybe not to like a grand scale, but there's usually some sorts of meet and greets. I couldn't find anything for this show in particular, so that was a little bit of a bummer, but whatever. I would say at the very least, our seats were solid. They weren't by any means any of the closer seats, but when you factor in that this is just a smaller arena compared to when we went to All In, which was on a baseball field, our seats were closer. So, you know, while we were technically percentage-wise toward like, you know, near the back, I guess you could say, we were still closer to the action than we were at All In, just merely because of the size of the arena. So that was cool. Now, normally when you go to AEW shows, you might notice that at the end of literally every show I've ever been to anyway, Tony Khan will come out there and kind of thank the crowd for being there, hype everybody up. He actually did this before the show. I don't remember him doing this for All In. He might have, and I just don't remember.
You are the biggest crowd in AEW all history.
But it was kind of cool. Tony coming out there and just hyping everybody up. I don't know if that part was on TV. I assume it wasn't because I don't remember ever seeing those in pay-per-views when watching the pay-per-views at home. But that was kind of cool. Now, I'll say this going into the video. I'm not looking to break down every match. This isn't really a review of all the matches, but there are some that I really want to talk about a little bit more on top of just the vlog part. But I'll make sure to put in clips from different matches, some cool stuff that I got to see. First off, opening the show with Cope and Christian, that whole match with FTR, not only was it just such a good start just because it got the crowd hyped up, obviously being from Canada, it was super hyped for Cope. I don't know if Christian also is, I'm not sure. But this is when I had my realization that this is not just our first time going to All Out. Like, this is our first time at an international wrestling crowd, which is kind of cool. And I know it's not like the European or the French crowds or anything like that, but there's always this extra little bit of hype when people talk about these international crowds, these non-American crowds. And I felt like I felt it here. And I honestly believe that the All Out crowd, maybe it was because it was a more condensed arena, so the sound wasn't as escaping as much as it might have been at All In. But I feel like this crowd just felt more alive and more electric than the one we were at All In, which again could totally be due to the venue, but this was excellent. There was a lot of chanting going on. It was really passionate, and the thing that woke it up was probably the whole Cope, the theme where everybody sings along to it once the music cuts. Very cool to be a part of. Very cool to see that in person on such a large scale. Very happy to have gotten to see that. At one point in this match, I think it might have even been after the match or late in the match, but Beth came out, and it's my understanding that is Cope's wife. I don't know how she plays into the story. I don't know much about her. I believe I would have known her as Beth Phoenix. Was that her WWE name maybe? But I don't think that's exactly the name she was going by, so I'm not totally familiar with Beth. I apologize for that in advance, but it seems like it was a really cool moment because a lot of people popped for it. Speaking of people I'm not familiar with, I believe it was the next match that featured Eddie Kingston. Now, this was something that was hyped up. People were talking about him a lot, and I didn't really get it. I didn't see him before. I think he's been gone the entire time I've been watching AEW. If not, that's my mistake. Maybe I just don't remember. Maybe it wasn't that memorable to me, but this is not me poking and prodding an insult or making, I'm just saying I didn't get the hype. I mean, obviously it was an out of context match for me, and I didn't have any, like, maybe there was a nostalgia issue that you guys were having that I was not, but people seem to really like it. And I just seemed like a guy, and I didn't really feel like there was a lot to get excited about in his actual match. Now, to be clear, I mentioned something about this over on X. Follow me at Deporticus over on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. And a lot of you said that a lot of his value comes from on the mic. So totally fair. There's a lot of performers that I really like specifically for their mic skills. And this could be the case for Eddie Kingston as well. So I did not get much out of his actual match, but I'm looking forward to what I assume is going to be soon, one of his first times on the microphone. Okay, now I really got to talk about this tables and tax match. This match was something. Okay, this might be one of the things that just grips me about AEW. This is apparently the first time they've ever done this match, or I'm sure they've done matches with tax and tables, obviously, but this is the first one actually labeled a table and tax match. The fact that this match opens up with the entire inside of the ring being covered in these thumbtacks is actually insanity to me. It actually does not feel like it should be legal. Like consensual contract and like performing or not, that seems like something so insane that no company would be able to legally justify doing it, especially on a televised scale. That was so insane in one of the most incredible like special stipulation type matches that I had seen thus far. Now I say that, but that doesn't stay that way for long. There's another match on this show that just blew my mind, just absolutely blew my mind. But this was just it was so insane seeing all the crazy stuff they were doing. I recognize that maybe there was a little bit more of a safety thing thrown in there. It felt like MJF may have had like some thick layers on the legs. I don't know. Maybe. I'm just speculating. It looked like he had some gloves too. Bryce was absolutely from like elbow to arm. He had like thick shoes on. I think he was trying to protect the ref at all costs. I think he had goggles on. Totally fair for the ref. But this match was just incredible in terms of what it feels like to watch AEW. That's the kind of stuff that just grabs me, and I'm like, well, I can't miss that. That is what must see TV literally means. That is what it means. It is this. This is the kind of stuff where if someone tells you this is on the card, this is on the show, you can't not watch it. If you are at all invested in the show, I don't care what two wrestlers it is, even awesome that it was these two, but you have to see it. You have to. I really don't know how you can do this without so seriously injuring you. Maybe it's just because they're so shallow, they don't go very deep, but it just seems like it would be one of the most painful match types to go through. And I have nothing but respect for Briscoe and MJF for putting on this performance. It was so entertaining. I was locked in from start to finish. I couldn't stop like taking little like recordings of it. Don't worry, I watched the whole match. I've gotten really good at pointing and like focusing on the match and recording it because I know I want to vlog it. This might be one of the matches, if not the match, that I had the most random little clips of, because so many moments I was like, ugh. Okay, that match was awesome. I hope they are both okay. There's a picture of Bryce's shoes after the match that you should check that out. I'll put it up if I find it. I do feel bad for the next match on the card because I don't know how you can be expected to follow something like that. But that task went to the Hurt Syndicate and Ricochet, and I believe they're called the Demand. Okay, total transparency here. Toa, Leona, Bishop, Khan, like those are the two that were with them. They are not fully on my radar. I don't know much about them at all, but they are friends with Ricochet, so they must not be the brightest in the bunch. But they did somehow find a way to get a win over the people who supposedly hurt people. That was very not expected. I very much thought that the Hurt Syndicate were going to go in there and put belt to ass, and unfortunately the bald dude won. So this is the same dude who threatened to have me removed by security, and I don't know where he gets off thinking that he can actually do that. He gets one win and suddenly it's his building and he has any say in who can and can't watch him wrestle. Stay in your lane, Ricochet. You got lucky one match, okay? One match. Anyway, next on the card was Mercedes Moné versus Rio, and I have not seen a ton of Rio, but I am going to very soon. I loved what I saw. The crowd maybe was not as into this one as I would have loved to see, because they were actually putting on a pretty damn good show. And Mercedes Moné is someone who has grown on me more and more the more I have watched AEW. I previously really preferred her work as Sasha, but over time with AEW, I've learned to like Mercedes Moné and her character a lot more. Rio, though, don't know anything about her character-wise. I don't know a lot about her history, but she seems really athletic, really cool. I don't have a lot to say about her. I just want to see more of her. So I don't know if she's fully AEW or if this is one of those things where she came over for another show temporarily. It seems like she just kind of came out of nowhere, or maybe I'm just oblivious and I've been not noticing her for the last year. That's on me. Looking forward to more of that. Next up was Okada, Takeshita, and Dorada. That match was sick. Now, I went into it not fully getting the dynamic here between Takeshita and Okada. I thought they were in the same faction. I don't know if it's more normal over on AEW for people that are in the same faction to just have like, maybe it's like an ego thing and they want to see which one's better. Not really sure how we got to this point, but I've quickly realized that this is a matchup that I really wanted. No hate to Dorado at all, but it did not take me very long to realize, oh, these two specifically, I would like to see a lot more of. But Dorado really carried his weight in this match. I don't know if it was because he brought that extra flippy element that I really enjoy, but it was a very exciting match between the three of them. A very good triple threat where it did not feel like it was a lot of 1v1 with someone resting. It was a lot of actually like three people involved in the ring that I prefer when watching a triple threat style match. Wasn't particularly surprised that Okada ended up being the one to win it. Out of the three, he probably is my favorite. I'd say he definitely is my favorite, so no issue there. But that was a great match. Just something on the card that I don't know if is going to stand out as something I remember unless I specifically look back on it, but still a solid match on the card. A match that I absolutely will not forget is the coffin match, the first ever coffin match that I could say that I watched. I'm so fortunate to have watched in person. I've seen a couple on the Patreon. You should check out the Patreon, by the way. It's totally free to join. You can upgrade at any time if you'd like. But this was really cool to actually get to see. The whole starting with a Death Rider style entrance and then Darby interrupting it was especially cool because a lot of that happened in front of our section to the point where they didn't really come up our steps, but Darby did. I couldn't tell from this angle that we had, but it might have been a coffin drop. Maybe it was just a regular drop or something from the area that's just below our section. So that was really cool. They went up into the stands and then fought in different stairways and all that. They were all over the place. It was an absolutely wild, insane match. That was going to be one of the ones that stick with me for a long time. When I look back on this show years from now, I am 100% certain that this is going to be one that I have just burned into my brain. This is one that I specifically want to go back and watch televised. I want to see angles and hear things that I wasn't able to hear in person. This is the part of the video where I want to highlight somebody that we were sitting nearby. And this was, if you were watching on TV, if you're in person, whatever, I'm going to try not to exaggerate here. I'm going to say that roughly 35% of the chants that you were hearing in that arena, I kid you not, were started by this guy. This was one of the coolest things to witness in person, that I was sitting this close to somebody who constantly just had the courage that I know I don't have to just start yelling a chant and just hope the people around you join in. This guy, whenever the crowd was getting just a little bit silent, he would chant something. And I would say he had about a 90% success rate of at least the section around us starting to get in on it. So he would just do it once, and because it's an AEW crowd, and maybe even more because it's an international crowd, the immediate section would start doing it. And dude, there is nothing like being in an actual arena-sized venue, hearing one person start it, and then immediately like 100 people are doing it just in the immediate vicinity, and hearing it grow around the arena is one of the coolest experiences that I hope that anybody that goes to a larger wrestling show gets to witness on their own. So shout out to that guy, but not that much of a shout out because I don't like him, and we'll talk about that later, but we're not there yet. But so far, this guy is cool. So far, he's fine, but we'll get there. Up next was a match I thought I was excited for. Toni Storm was defending her title in a four-way match against Chris Statlander, Tekla, and Jamie Hayter. This is on me. Totally my fault. I went into this with the, I don't know if it's just other wrestling promotions that I have watched too much of or something, but there's this feeling of when your champion goes into a four-way or a three-way, or whenever they have more than one opponent, they're probably retaining. They're probably going into this, and it's an opportunity to make them look strong, or even stronger than they already are, because they get to defend against a group, and they are still going to retain. Why didn't we stick to the formula, Tony? Listen, I like Chris Statlander. I have no issue with Chris Statlander, but you can't just spring that on me. I need a build. I need something. I didn't like it. I wasn't a fan. I'm happy for Chris Statlander, and it's fine. I wasn't emotionally ready. I felt comfortable. When I went to All In and she was facing Mercedes, I was nervous and I was thinking this could be it. I thought I was smooth sailing in this match. I thought I was chilling. I'm like, I get to see Toni Storm in person. She's not going to lose. I'm going to get to see her win again. This is awesome. And then that happens. That somehow happens. And what made it worse is the guy I told you about that is so cool for doing all these chants. He's got some issue with Toni Storm. Apparently he can do chants, but the boy don't know ball. He comes out here chanting overrated to Toni Storm. I don't know. This dude, I don't know where he was. He was all about Tekla this, Tekla that. And don't get me wrong, I'm a Tekla fan too. I think she's pretty cool, but I was not going to stand there this close to someone dissing Toni Storm. So I started booing Tekla.
Tekla sucks! Tekla sucks! Tekla sucks! Do the thing where you pretend to be a bug!
It was a little toxic, I'll give you that, but I refused to just sit there and let this guy badmouth Toni Storm and then act like Tekla is the second coming of whoever. And so I made sure to let him know it. And yeah.
Toni Storm! Toni Storm! Toni Storm! Toni Storm! Toni Storm! Tekla! 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 Tekla!
I want to be clear. He was cool with me using him in the video. He's really cool. We fist bumped after. He said it was all in good fun. We were just having a good time. So it's fine. I don't know, man. I need a Toni rematch and I need that title back on her. So if she's gonna lose, it's something that I can I feel like I need to be more ready to emotionally prepare. I still don't feel like she's not the champion. I just still feel like she's the champion. And of course it bummed me out. Of course it did. I did not like that ending. I did not like it at all. Oh, and of course this guy loves it. Of course he's happy that the overrated Toni Storm. Let's talk. What's next on the card? I don't want to. All right, the next one is probably my favorite match on the card just because of how insane it was. But I keep saying that, but like so many of the matches were so memorable. I don't even know. But the 4-way ladder match, which it is Brodito, Jet Speed, Young Bucks, and Josh Alexander and Hechicero. Not great with pronunciations on this channel. This match had everything, man. This had some of it. There were definitely spots where like, oh, I could see this coming, but it didn't matter, dude. It felt like they pulled out all the stops. This felt like they knew they were going into this and this was a pay-per-view. You know, there's some matches that just feel like, oh, this is important because the story says it's important. It did not matter any of the build for this. This was the kind of match that was just going to be a car crash and you could not look away. There was so much going on. There were so many flips off of so many things. There were multiple times where I'm like, there's no way that dude isn't injured. It was incredible. But that was the match of the night when it comes to when I look back on it. That is the match where I just remember not being able to sit down. It was so good. It was so exciting. And that was when I just didn't really want it to end. I really didn't want that one to end. It felt like they had so many ideas. It just kept going, kept going. Following that match was one of the coolest, like big return moments I've gotten to witness in person. Now, personally, I'm not super invested in either of these wrestlers. I'm not super invested in their stories yet, but I am vaguely aware that they were a tag team. I'm vaguely aware that they were the Jurassic Express. But being able to see in person this kind of a moment happen, and having like a pop for their old music, and the crowd doing this like a dance and like the sing along, that was just something that was so cool to witness in person, to be there for a big return, to be there for an entire crowd, it felt like 100% of people just locking in and being a part of this moment was something I'll cherish. That's the kind of stuff at wrestling shows that you just that kind of sticks with you. That's one of those core memories that I'm going to have. I just looking around and seeing like the waving of the people and how loud they got for these two. So really excited to see what they do going forward. And I'm very, very, very thankful to have gotten to see that in person. Really quick, what did Luchasaurus throw into the crowd? I don't know. I think that was symbolic of something. Don't know what that was. So feel free to let me know. All that was left was the main event. And this one, I'm going to be totally honest that this was a tough one to have the main event. I feel like when you have this many cool things on the card and you have a ladder match that is that exciting, be right before your main event has to hit. So very not jealous of Kyle Fletcher and Hangman Adam Page for needing to follow that up. But I'll give you the long answer, or I'll give you the short answer first. They did great. But the long answer is that it felt like this match did not need to be like 45 minutes. The first, I'll even say 10 to 15 minutes of this match, I was sitting there kind of wondering, like, damn, is this one of those things where that title main evented and it wasn't the match? But it seems like they are one of the shows that title they need to have at main event. Like no matter what, they want that title to main event. And I feel like there's been times in the past where being super committed to that title being the main event has hurt. But they did, after about 10, 15 minutes of the match feeling slower and feeling like there just wasn't a lot going on, it did lead to something.
If he would have hit the one-winged angel, she would have freaked the fuck out.
It built up and it got to the point where the last 30 minutes I was fully hooked, and that probably could have been the whole match, but I get it. They wanted to probably build it up to something that felt a little bit bigger. I'm a Kyle Fletcher fan. I think he is a wonderful heel. I love his character work, and I think he is phenomenal in the ring. Hangman Adam Page is someone that I have grown to love over my time of starting to watch AEW. Shout out to the Patreon again for showing us the videos of his like storyline. That helped a ton. They had a lot of pretty insane moments, and so shout out to both of them. It did end up being a pretty spectacular match. I have no issues with that being the main event. It could have been a little bit shorter, but that's at that point you're just looking for a reason. So no real complaints about that match. You know, it's crazy that these shows go on for so long. And I know if you're just watching them on TV, you're like, oh, it's only like a 5-hour show. But you get there, when you go in person, you're watching the pre-show, you're there for hours before. So it really always ends up being like an 8+ hour endeavor. And it's crazy that you can be there for that long. And then when it ends, you're like, damn, why did it have to end? Why can't it still go just a little bit longer? These shows have revolutionized like my brain and the way that I watch wrestling. I love this brand. You know, at this point, the haters aren't going to make it this far in the video. I can just say it. I love this freaking show, dude. I want to watch so much more of it. This is my main show. I want to go to more in person. I want to meet more people there. I want to completely absorb this show, and I just want to learn. I want to learn the history of it. I want to be caught up, and thankfully the show's not that old, so I can kind of do that. Who knows? Maybe on the Patreon I'll start. Maybe I'm gonna do a little more AEW focused on the Patreon and pick some matches and stuff on my own that I want to go back and watch for the first time, because this is it. This is what I feel. I feel at home at these shows. I feel at home in these crowds. It feels like it fits my vibe. And I will admit it wasn't always that way. This was definitely something that grew on me. My interest in wrestling evolved over time. And this is it. So I'm going to go to more of these shows. I'm going to document more of these shows. I'll make more of these videos. So please subscribe if you enjoy going on these journeys with us, because I'm definitely going to do more. I'm very excited to do more. This is by far my favorite thing to do. And I get to see places I never would have gotten to see otherwise. I got to go to Toronto, which, you know, might not be a big deal to you, but that's a big city for me anyway. I haven't been to places like this, especially at night with all the lights and the tall buildings and everything. It's so cool. These are things, and these are places that I get to go, and things that I would have never gotten to do without you guys, and if I had never gotten into wrestling. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way through. Make sure you hit like on it. If you want, you could share it. Do whatever you got to do. Throw a comment down there. Just say hi, because YouTube will like it. So just thank you so much for watching. I'll end this video by you getting to see me and Tally pick up our dog, Max. Her mom was watching him, and he got very excited to see us. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Also, follow on Twitch. I'm there. I'm live over there way more often than I used to be. So come watch Dynamite with us over there. Bye.
Oh my goodness.
And we were just relaxing. I was rubbing his stomach.
Come here. Oh God, oh God, oh God.
Oh my god, you smell like a little pig.
Hi.
Because if he didn't have fun here,
I know.
Hey, baby.
nobody's like,
Oh my God.
We thought about him every day.
oh,
He's like, let's go. This
yeah,
way.
well,